That night on the beach, when I saw Sarah in Ethan's arms, I knew my life would never be the same again. The passion I caught in their eyes marked the end of everything I had shared with Ethan over the past 2 years. But here I am, sharing this story with you because things aren't always as clear-cut as they seem. Ethan was my world until Sarah inserted herself into our relationship during that fateful summer vacation. I met Ethan 2 years ago at work. He was the mysterious stranger working at the store next to mine, but he quickly became the center of my world. Yes, Ethan was married, and I know that's something many people could never accept. But when I was with him, I felt special. He made me feel like the most perfect woman in the world, someone worthy of attention, care, and passion. The way he listened to me, the way he made me feel adored, it was intoxicating. Our relationship was far from ordinary. Weeks would go by when we couldn't see each other because of his work trips to other cities. But Ethan would always surprise me, sending gifts, traveling miles just to have dinner with me, stealing a kiss, and then rushing back to his commitments. At work during breaks, we'd find ways to evade the cameras in the mall and steal moments together. The thrill of those secret encounters still lingers in my memory, even years later. Whenever we reunited after being apart, we'd make every moment count. Ethan and I would jump into his car and drive for hours, sharing fantasies and living out our wildest desires. Whether it was in the car, in a secluded park, near a lake, or deep in the woods, being with Ethan made me feel alive. But it wasn't just the physical connection. Ethan knew how to use words and gestures to make me feel like the happiest woman in the world. One night, as we sat under the stars on a deserted road, he said, "I wish time would stop, and we could stay here forever." In that moment it felt like the universe was made just for us. But the man who always made me feel like a queen would later shatter my world during a summer vacation. This summer getaway was supposed to be my escape. My sister Chloe, my cousin Sarah, and I rented a villa by the beach. I planned to disconnect from everything, turning off my phone and enjoying the sun and sea. But Ethan surprised me on the second day by showing up at the villa. My heart raced when I saw him, and the girls were delighted. I had spoken so much about Ethan, his surprises, his incredible body, his kind heart, that meeting him in person seemed to charm both Chloe and Sarah instantly. On his first day there, Ethan kept us entertained. He joined us at the beach, making everyone laugh and feel special. That night he treated us to a fancy dinner at a beautiful restaurant. I noticed Sarah's lingering glances, and the way she kept finding excuses to touch him or compliment him. But I brushed it off, thinking it was just the effect of meeting someone as charismatic and gentlemanly as Ethan. He was mine after all, and Sarah's admiration didn't bother me. At least, not yet. On the third day, Ethan took us on a boat ride. The sun was shining, and a gentle breeze lifted our spirits as Ethan handed out drinks and made sure we enjoyed the day. Chloe and Sarah couldn't stop laughing at his jokes, and their faces lit up with every story he told. But Sarah's gaze began to unsettle me. She looked at Ethan as if he were the most perfect man alive. Ethan seemed to enjoy the attention, but I told myself he was just being friendly. He was mine, not Sarah's. On the fourth night, we sat on the villa's veranda, drinking wine. Ethan mixed drinks for everyone, but he seemed a bit too attentive to Sarah. I noticed the subtle gestures but convinced myself I was overreacting. After a few too many drinks, I decided to go to bed. Ethan kissed me on the forehead and said, "I'll be up soon." The next morning, as I walked along the beach, I saw Ethan and Sarah in the water, splashing and laughing. My cousin Sarah, with her Cleopatra-like beauty, dark curly hair, sun-kissed bronze skin, and an enviable figure, looked radiant in the waves. I wanted to believe they were just having fun, but something inside me felt wrong. Even before knowing the truth, I could sense the shift. One afternoon, as we lounged by the beach, I drifted off for a moment. When I woke up, Ethan and Sarah were gone. Chloe told me Sarah had gone to change in the cabana, and Ethan was making cocktails as a surprise. But I couldn't shake my unease. The image of them in the water earlier that morning haunted me. I walked to the cabana, and when I opened the door, I saw them. Sarah was in Ethan's arms. Their bodies were entwined, and the look in their eyes betrayed their forbidden passion. "How could you do this to me?" I screamed. Sarah froze, her face pale as a ghost. Ethan didn't move, his silence heavier than any excuse he could have given. In that moment I realized the man I had given everything to had betrayed me, not just with anyone, but with my own cousin. Later, when I confronted Sarah, she confessed everything. That night on the veranda, after we'd been drinking, Ethan and I had our first moment together, she admitted. But he walked away before anything happened and went to bed with you. Still, I couldn't stop myself. I went to him while you were asleep. I pulled him out of bed and down to the beach. We stayed there all night, Lily, on the sand, in the water. He became my first. I didn't plan it, but I couldn't resist him. He was just too perfect. Her words stabbed at my heart. She described how Ethan had taken her to the beach, how he'd held her, and how she'd given herself to him entirely. The pain of hearing all this from my own cousin was unbearable. I had watched them so closely all week and couldn't believe I had missed these signs. After that, my love for Ethan turned into pure hatred. I ended things with him immediately, but the story didn't end there. 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant. That news flipped my world upside down once again. Then, I discovered Sarah was pregnant too, with Ethan's child. It was a nightmare come to life. Knowing that my cousin and I were both carrying children by the same man was something I couldn't process. But I knew I couldn't let Ethan get away with this. He needed to pay for what he had done to me, and his wife deserved to know the truth. I gathered all my courage and went to Ethan's house. His wife opened the door, recognizing me from previous encounters. She kindly invited me in, and I sat down, trying to find the words to explain everything. Slowly, I told her the entire story, how Ethan had betrayed her, how he had betrayed me, and how he had fathered 2 children with me and my cousin during the same vacation. As I spoke, I began to realize my own role in this mess. I had knowingly entered a relationship with a married man, thinking it would only hurt me, but in reality, I had destroyed more than I ever anticipated. When I finished, Ethan's wife listened calmly. Though her eyes betrayed her heartbreak, she asked me to leave. Later, I learned she had divorced him and taken everything he had. Today, as I look back on all that has happened, I feel both broken and strong. I can never deny what I shared with Ethan. Yes, I knowingly entered a relationship with a married man, thinking he was mine alone. But I can never forgive him for betraying me with my own cousin, nor for the fact that both Sarah and I are carrying his children. Our children are not just cousins, they're siblings, born from betrayal. Tell me, who do you think is the most at fault here? Ethan for betraying both his wife and me? Me, for dreaming of a life with a married man? Or Sarah, for being with her cousin's boyfriend despite knowing everything? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for listening to my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Until next time.